What's up guys, it's Ryan and you're watching Ryan Vision. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video and subscribe for more. Got tons of videos of this Jeep, everything that's been done to it, and everything that's still going to be done to it will be covered, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Today I'm going to show you the new onboard air compressor, courtesy of Rock Offroad. They've been a great company to work with. They're supporters of Project ZJ. Make sure you check out projectzj.com. It's all the Jeep videos that are on YouTube, but just the Jeep videos, no 350Z, no guns. So basically Rock Offroad, I let them know what I was doing. They stepped up to the plate and decided to be a part of Project ZJ. So they hooked me up with some good deals on some really awesome parts. And because of that, I'm flying their decals on my back bumper and also on my fenders, just to show my support for them. And I'm happy to say that I'm sending them some business, because I see your guys' comments, you know, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. I see a lot of you guys, you know, posting stuff. Oh, I got this, I got that from IRO, and I say, sweet, you know, I really like mine. And then you guys write back and you say, yeah, you're the reason that I got mine. So that's been really cool. I'm glad I can help you guys out, you know, by trying a product, really liking the product, doing an honest review on it, and passing that information along to you guys so that you can make the decisions and not waste money on something that doesn't work out good, like some of the stuff I've reviewed negatively from other companies in the past. So that's really awesome, and I can highly recommend everything from Rock Offroad, including this onboard air compressor. So you can see it's just a little guy, but it works really good. I mean, the compressor fills this tank in no time at all, and it can run air tools with very little catch-up time. Check out ironrockoffroad.com for all the you know, exact stats on this thing. But basically what I can tell you is I've got it wired to my ignition. When I turn the key on, if this switches on right here, which right now it's off, if I flip that on, oh, we got a train coming by, hopefully it's not too loud. But basically when I turn the key on, if that switch is on, or if I flip the switch on, this compressor will just start running, and it'll fill the tank up to 135 psi, and then it'll just click off automatically. And then you can see I got the quick release right here to hook my hose to. And what I love about this Rock kit is it came with absolutely everything. It came with the hose, it came with all the fittings. You know, you have to put them on, but it came with all of them. Quick release here, and then it even came with this Milton. You know, you got a air gun, you got a tire gauge, and then you got a tire filled chuck. It came with absolutely everything. It came with all the wiring that you need. It came with an extension kit for the water drainage. For those of you that don't know, an air compressor, it'll build up moisture in the tank, and so, you know, when you first get the compressor, it just has this little bleeder valve here, but they give you this extension kit with this hose, and the bleeder valve connects to the bottom of that. They give you this solenoid that helps keep your battery from draining and helps with all the wiring. They give you all the wiring, they give you all the wire connectors, they give you shrink wrap for connections like these up here where I connected my ground and my power. They give you a circuit breaker. I'll show you that in just a second. So what I love about this kit is they give you absolutely everything except a mounting bracket itself, and that's to be expected. So you can see this mounting bracket, and you know, I hate to brag, but I've got a badass mounting bracket. My buddies Nate and Mitch, and I'll put their Instagram names on here. Check them out on there. Basically, Nate has a ZJ. He's got a 5.9 limited. It's awesome, man. It's black. He's got stuff painted neon green. It's long arm. It's a badass rig. So I've been out to the Rubicon with him once. We're going out again. Really glad I met him. I met him over at Prairie City. He'd been watching the videos and stuff and knew I was going out there. I forget if it was Instagram or YouTube, but he knew I was going out there. He came out there, and we've been hanging out and wheeling ever since. So Nate and Mitch has a right-hand drive XJ on full width axles, and he's building that right now. He's finishing it up. It's on long arms in the front, And just awesome rigs, awesome guys. And you know, the thing that they know how to do is they know how to fabricate stuff, they know how to weld. I don't know how to do any of that. And so they took one look at this, you know, the back of the Jeep, and they're like, oh, you know, we'll just make this bracket and it'll be nice and sleek, you won't lose storage space. And that's what was important to me, and you can see I didn't, because any boxes, toolboxes and stuff are going to go right here and come straight up, and so I got plenty of room for that still. And so what they did is they made this bracket here first, and then they mounted it to an existing bracket, which is where the spare tire from the factory used to mount. And they did that, and then Nate got a hold of this rounded, you know, they didn't have to cut that, it was a rounded plate of steel that he found somewhere. And it's just awesome. So they figured out where to cut it in half there, cut it in half, and welded this bracket on, and then just, you know, tested it out, because this compressor, don't let it fool you, it's pretty small, but it's got some weight to it. And so once we got the compressor mounted with just this one bracket, and you know, we thought that'd be enough because look how thick it is, but it had some movement. And what I was worried about is, you know, it's real close to my rear window and the headliner and everything, and when you get on a rocky trail, it starts swinging around. I don't want this thing to hit the window and break the glass. So what they did was they reinforced the front mount, and you can see we just cut minimal plastic, and they've got some welding back in there where this goes in and reinforces to the body structure, and then also another mount which goes into that little 8mm bolt there, holds it in place, and that was also something that had to do with the factory spare tire. So don't pay attention to the finish work, I still got to do some painting on this, but this thing is so sturdy now. And let me give it a little wiggle, you know what I mean? It's like, it's on there. I can wiggle it, I can hit rocks, very, very little movement at all. So they did a great job. Again, Nathan, Mitch, really appreciate this, guys. Couldn't be happier. I tried to pay them for the materials, they wouldn't let me. You know, this is just an awesome setup. And anybody who's seen it so far has been like, oh man, that's a sweet mount, where'd you get that? Oh, who made it? You know, so that's just really cool to have something custom one-off like this in my Jeep, because I don't have a lot of fabricated stuff on here. Most of it's bolt-on, so I'm really stoked about this. So thanks again, guys. And then underneath here you can see I mounted the solenoid. So basically what I did was I ran wires all the way from the battery. So you got a circuit breaker, I'm still going to show you that. And then from the circuit breaker I went through the firewall, I went all the way down the passenger side of the Jeep, underneath the plastic trim by the door jambs. Then when I got back to the rear seat, I went under the seat over to the driver's side, because basically you got the battery on the passenger side and then the compressor on the driver's side. So I went under the seat to the driver's side, and then behind this plastic trim is where the wiring is, and you can see it comes out there. So this thicker wire right here is the power coming from the circuit breaker that's connected to the battery, and then this thinner wire here is the remote battery. Excuse me. And I actually ran that from my stereo amplifier, because that already had a remote wire coming from it hooked to the ignition. So tapped into that for this, hadn't had any problems with that. And then you got a ground here, and I just grounded it right here, and then this ground is actually going to the compressor. So a ground from the solenoid, a ground from the compressor, and then this is the power line actually going up to the compressor. You can see you got the power and grounds right there where I tapped into those. So it's been working out great. Looks really good. I'm gonna run it for you guys so you can see how quick it fills up. Let me show you the wiring. So I've got a wire right here. These bigger wires are for my winch, but this thin wire right here, again, I did all my grounds in the rear, so I only have the positive one run to the cable, or excuse me, to the battery for the compressor. So that thinner wire just runs along here. I've got it zip tied to some other existing wires, and then I followed over here. Now right here is my circuit breaker, and so basically just the wire from the battery goes in right here, and then another wire right here goes from the circuit breaker all the way back through the Jeep to the compressor. And then I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but then it just feeds in through the firewall there through a little rubber grommet, and then I just went, like I said, all the way down this plastic trim, unlocked the door, and show you. You can't see it, you know what I mean? I did a good job hiding it, but if you get down under here, then you can see there's some wires going to the amplifier, and that big thick red one right there is going to the compressor. So I just pulled this plastic up, you know, it's just a couple screws, ran it all the way back. I'll show you the back side too. Can't see it. Runs all the way back through there. It's hidden underneath here, then goes across the seat over there, and then through the plastic trim over to the back to the compressor. So it worked out really good. I'm really happy with it. One thing I will say is I probably need to do, now that I got a winch and an air compressor, and you know, I'm gonna get an LED light bar and all that, I probably need to look into dual batteries, or at least get it like a 130 amp alternator to power all this stuff, because I was playing around with this yesterday doing pressure tests and whatnot, and it does, by the way, go up to 135 and hold it. But one thing you need to do first, once you get it up, you know, with pressure in it, do a listen test. I had some air leaking from here, I just needed to tighten it down more, and after you do a listen test, if you're still losing some air, get some soapy water and spray it on the different connections, and if you see bubbles, then you know it's leaking air. So but what I was gonna say is, I was playing around with this for a while in the garage without the Jeep running, and it did run the battery down. It still started, but I had the check gauge light on, which means my voltage had dropped. So let's go ahead and what I'll do is I'll leave the switch off. Let's start the Jeep up, and then we'll come back here together and turn the switch on so we can hear it fill up. I got like a million keys. All right. So now I can tell you that the ignition wire, or the remote wire, is sending power to the solenoid now. So the compressor is definitely ready to run if we just flip this switch. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then what will happen is when I flip the switch, this pressure gauge right here is gonna go up, and this one won't go up unless I actually tighten this valve, if I was gonna actually do some work through it. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this gauge or not. Sometimes I look through the window, but it's kind of hard to see through there, so I'll see if I can't. Let me see if I can't get the camera up. Yeah, it looks like I might be able to get the camera. It's probably gonna wobble and stuff, but anyways, here we go. I'm gonna flip the switch. Building pressure, cranking right up, no problem. And then what will happen is when it gets up to 135, you'll just hear it release a little bit of air, and then the compressor will kick off. Is. So now we know it's at 135, and it will hold that. That hissing noise you're hearing right now is actually my fuel pump, so don't let that fool you. Okay, and then let's say you used it and it lost a little pressure. You let a little air pressure out. If it drops below a certain point, compressor kicks right back on, brings it back up to 135. And then, like I said, this is the moisture drain, so you could just back this off at any time to let the moisture out of the tank. It'll blow air and moisture right out this hose, and that's why they give you a long hose, is so you can run it out the back of the Jeep and not get water inside the Jeep. So there it is, we're back to 135. So again guys, I couldn't be happier with all the products from Rock Offroad. Make sure you check out their website. I've got their long arms front and rear, I've got their bar pin eliminators, I've got their onboard air compressor, I've got their almost alloy U-joint axle shafts in the front with 760X spicers. I've got all kinds of goodies from them. Also got my Doetsch Tech 8000 Prerunner shock absorbers through their website. Also got my JKS Quicker Disconnects through their website. They've got all kinds of goodies, so check them out. IronRockOffroad.com. Really awesome onboard air compressor. Can't wait to test it out this weekend at the Rubicon. Alright guys, that's it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.